Hi, everybody. It's Steph. Hi, everybody. It's Stephanie, and we have not caught up in a couple of weeks here. And so I wanted to take an opportunity to just let you know what's been going on. And so we're going to start with a video wrap up of my time on the road this summer. If you'll remember, I started my volunteer journey with Carolina Crown. I was on the road with Carolina Crown for, it was really 6 days. I think by the time you have all of the in and out, it was 6 days. And so I did my time there on the food truck. I will tell you that is probably the hardest work I've done in, it's been a minute, in a long time, but it was also the most fun and rewarding. So let me tell you a little bit about what happens when you volunteer on the food truck. It's probably a little different in every drum corps, but in Carolina Crown, there is a cook that is there, and I'm pretty sure he's there for the entire summer. And he is the one that is making the menus. It sounded like he was the person that was also placing the order for food, and really just making sure that the kids are fed down the road with exactly what they need to eat to maintain themselves and fuel their bodies while they're on tour. I had a great volunteer base when I was at Crown. On the day that I arrived, of course, I didn't know anything about what was going on. I had never done anything like this before. And so one thing that I will throw out, if you're a drum corps person and you're watching this, or even if you're high school band, or it really doesn't matter, anybody, any type of activity where you use a volunteer base. When I arrived, there was a great lady that was there that was also volunteering that really took me under her wing. Her name was Trina, and I've actually gotten to see her since then as well, which was really fun. But I didn't know what I was doing. And one would think that with all of the years that I've been involved in this activity, that I would show up and just be ready to go. And that was actually not the case. I had no clue how this process worked at all. And so even though she was not the welcome wagon person that was, you know, that's not her job with Carolina Crown, that was her personality and her tendency. And she really took me under her wing and said, I've done this before, let me show you, come with me. And so if you're a person that's watching this, and even me taking it back as a color guard director in a large band program, it really let me know that we always need to make sure that there's a person that is there to show someone else what to do, especially when it's something that they haven't done before, or maybe something a little bit out of the norm. Anyway, past that, so there's 4 meals a day that these kids are going to eat: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack. Now, it's a little misleading that they call it snack, because to me, it wasn't snack. It was a 4th meal. And so get up 2 hours before breakfast, you're cooking breakfast.
Good morning. So it is the first show day for Carolina Crown, and the students had a long day yesterday working with the campers at the Music for All Summer Symposium. It was so hot. Holy cow, it was so hot. Maybe the air temperature wasn't as hot as what I'm used to, at least in Texas, but the sun, holy cow, it was hot. So they're sleeping in until 9, but it's 7 right now, and we're up and we're gonna make them some breakfast.
As soon as breakfast is over, you gotta wash those dishes, prep everything, put up any leftovers that you might have, kind of switch out condiments from maybe syrup and milk to some lunch stuff, and lunch is on the way. Lunch is usually prepped by that time. It's cooking. And then as soon as, it seems like at least, as soon as breakfast is done and all of the cleanup and things are finished and organized, here they come for lunch. So they go through the lunch line. It's kind of a rinse and repeat process here. You go through the lunch line, the kids are fed, and as soon as that's over, same thing. put everything away. Things that go in the refrigerator need to go back in the refrigerator. Leftovers are put away and stored, and then dishes have to be washed, and pots and pans and utensils and things that were used in the process for lunch have to be washed. And so that happens. After that, there was typically a little bit of time. Most days, the people that worked on the food truck, we all went back to the entertainer coach and we took a nap. Or that's when we went and took a shower.
Hey everybody, day 2, the Carolina Crown. It's like 8 o'clock-ish, and I'm going to take a shower, and I walked all the way down there and I forgot my towel. So I had to walk all the way back. So take 2.
So then it's time for dinner. Kind of the same process goes again. And then dinner stuff is put away. After that is usually ensemble. And so after dinner, things were cleared and those leftovers were put away, dishes were washed and all of that. We had the opportunity to go watch ensemble each night. And then at Crown, it seemed like mostly that snack was leftovers from either that day or the day before. But it was things that they had left that still had a lot of taste or life left to them, and those were put out. But it was definitely a meal that was left for them. I found that I thought, my opinion, that snack was the most important meal that they ate all day, because by the time they eat snack, they've done ensemble. And I found this with both corps. They've done ensemble and they are starving because it is all in. So maybe the afternoon might have been sectionals on the concourse or under the trees, or wasn't quite as intense in the days that they were parked when they were full rehearsal days. It wasn't quite as intense. But those nighttime blocks, those are an all-in time for this drum corps. And so the kids are starving by the time that they get to snack. And so, so it was a pretty hearty meal. I would call it a meal. The word snack, I think, is really deceiving, but I think it's just another word for a meal. But it's a 4th meal for sure. At both corps, they had peanut butter and jelly as much as the kids wanted. It was funny to me because I found Avery's a pretty strategic kid. We've talked about that before with him. Avery would come, and because of, I guess, front ensemble and loading or needing to push their marimbas and get them wherever they needed to be for the night, the truck or in storage, wherever, they're usually the last to get there. And so for me, I'm watching for him to come. And all these other kids are coming through the line and getting their stuff. And so the line is long by the time they get there. So Avery would come and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then get in line and eat that while he was waiting. And I was like, that's my boy, smarty. He figured that out pretty quickly. Food truck life, we had a food delivery while we were there. That was an assembly line to beat all of some assembly lines, just boxes and boxes. It was a whole box truck. Like, I don't know measurements. I'm not that person, but a big one, a big box truck, 3/4 of the way full of food that had to be unloaded and, and put away because it's perishable, a lot of it, or it needed to go in the refrigeration unit or into the freezer. And so that stuff has to be dealt with. And that's in between cooking meals. So it is an intense process. And I will tell you, I was very, very tired at the end of that week. I guess kind of misnomer going in is the day I got there, the cook, he asked me, he was like, are you going to be this dressed up all week? And so I, for the next 6 days, wore the worst clothes that I brought. And maybe I'm just a neater person. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just who I am. I typically don't get very dirty. Like, that's not me. I was not dirty that week. Like, I did not leave with by the way that he was talking and the kind of tone of his voice, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to buy other clothes between here and California because I'm gonna be covered with ketchup or I don't know, barbecue sauce. I don't know what I was thinking, or what he was thinking even, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna be this stressed up all week. So I changed into like the rattiest clothes that I brought. I didn't have anything on me. So I'm not saying to you to bring your all white outfit when you volunteer on the food truck next year at your favorite drum corps, but I'm saying that I was not wrecked at the end of the week. All of my clothes came away unscathed. I also had heard horror stories about people that were like, I smell like food when they would sleep, and maybe I just timed my showers right, but I didn't. I was fine. I'm pretty sensitive to smells, or at least like, I don't know. I was good. I've also had people ask me, would I work on the food truck again? And that answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes, I would. And here's why. Because that is the job that got to interact with every single member of that drum corps. And to me, that was really important. I wanted to know who Avery was surrounding himself with for the summer. That's one of the reasons that I would work on the food truck, is because I wanted to know who these people were. Who is he spending his time with? I knew that about Alabama. I had connected with his friends, knew who they were, knew the names and faces, had done all of that in the fall. So I was comfortable with that. I wanted to know that for the summer as well. So I would definitely do that. And the second reason is it's the job that I think is probably the least fun, so it's the hardest to find volunteers for. And sometimes that's what you need to do. If you're a parent that is, like, just let me serve where you need me the most, that's probably going to be it. I would guess that is probably going to be one of the spots. And I know, for example, the week that I was there, I left on Sunday, and so did everybody else that was there that week. We had a good team that week. It was an easier week because we were still a lot. We only moved the last maybe 3 days, and we moved around. So it wasn't quite, the work wasn't quite as intense, but then the week after we left, there was nobody there. And so admin team was helping, and management, all of those type of people were filling the gaps. And that's not what you want. You don't want those people filling the gaps. You want those people doing their actual jobs they're paid for. That's what you want them doing. And so I think it's really important. So for me, a question that I would ask next year is, what weeks are you the most lean with volunteers? Because that's a good opportunity for me to come. Maybe for my first time, it was really great that there were a lot of people there. That was very helpful to me, learning the ropes, and everybody was so sweet, as I said before. But going forward, now that I know a little bit more what to do, I would say, when do you need me? And that's when I would go. So after I left Carolina Crown, I flew straight from Charlotte to LA. I got picked up by Chasen, and we joined in with Garrett. He got picked up at the same time, and we went to the housing site where Blue Devils was staying. Pat Seidling, the corps director at Blue Devils, and I have known each other for, probably, over 20 years, because when I met Pat, Avery wasn't, I didn't have Avery yet. So over 20 years. He is a wonderful friend, wonderful mentor, and man, he is just fantastic leader. He is a fantastic leader. Born for drum corps for sure. It's in his family blood, and you can tell. So with Blue Devils, I had a very different role and experience that week. So I was able to shadow Pat and their admin team and some of their key volunteers for the week, and learn the business side of drum corps. So it was really great for me because I got to actually serve as a volunteer and see that side firsthand when I was with Crown, but then to turn around and see, okay, this is how they actually get down the road with Pat and the Blue Devils team. Let me tell you, there's a whole lot that happens in that operation that you don't think about. And so, for example, the kids had a free day one day. And so trying to figure out even, they went to Santa Monica Pier. It was the 4th of July. I mean, what a fantastic free day. That was just, I mean, phenomenal. I love Santa Monica Pier. But trying to figure out how to get all the motor coaches in. Like, where are you going to park motor coaches at Santa Monica Pier? Where are you going to drop these kids off that you can fit 4 motor coaches that'll come straight in on the side of the road on a major holiday where there's a lot of traffic and a lot of people? Things like that. Or when we would get to a housing site, making sure that we arrive early to that housing site or before the buses get there. That's what I mean by early. Before the buses get there, so that you can meet the person that's maybe got the keys that's letting you in for the night, that you can walk the facility and make sure that you know where everything is. Are all the bathrooms unlocked? How do you turn the lights on and off? Is the air working? Is it clean? What does it look like now, so that when we leave this place, we can actually leave it better than we found it? There's a lot of things that you don't think about that come through. And so when you're leaving at the same time as the drum corps, and then you're trying to get to the place before they are, it's really something that you kind of have to think through time-wise and mileage-wise. But man, they're just fantastic. And so there was a day where Kristen was calling and making sure that we knew the exact time that we had showers, because we were showering at a facility where there were other drum corps that were also on this shower schedule, and making sure that things worked the way they needed to work, not only for the Blue Devils, but for also those other drum corps, and making sure that everybody was in communication. It is a wheel that does not stop turning. I was completely captivated and fascinated because I love organizational things. I love things that work in a system and things that work chronologically. So that was all in my wheelhouse. I am not sure that I was any help to them the entire week, but I loved every single second of it. Loved it all. Also got to visit with Piper and meet her friends. That was important to me, the same as Avery. Piper is a little more, well, a whole lot more, like 400 times more, communicative. Like with Snapchat and Instagram and that type of thing. I heard from her a whole lot more. So it was really nice to see the faces and meet the kids that had been in these Instagram posts of hers for the whole summer. So that was really cool as well. Another question that I've gotten asked quite a bit is, how much time did I get to spend with the kids when I was on the road with them? It was really important to me that I not disrupt their daily schedule, and I didn't want the week that I was there with both kids to be about me. I wanted them to do everything that they would normally do, and if I could, sneak a peek in at an ensemble rehearsal or anything without being disruptive to them, that was important. So at Crown, when he was really the most available, or he would come and say, do you want to sit with me? I would go with him at snack time. That was the time after he had put up his instrument for the night, before he went to take a shower and go to bed, and he just had a little bit more time to visit. That wasn't an every night thing, maybe 2 or 3 nights of tour. And then on show nights, I would always try and find him in the lot and, take some pictures and video, that type of thing. And then visit with him again after he had loaded his instrument and was waiting for snack. And so I found myself with the food truck, like always watching to make sure that there was food for the front ensemble, because they're so late. They're so, it just takes them so long to get back. And so I kind of found myself doing that a lot at snack, just making sure they were able to eat. And because of that, passed on to both kids. We have this DoorDash app. My debit card is in it. If you need food, if you miss whatever, be sure and DoorDash. And so Avery has once or twice here recently, and then one night on a free day, Piper was in her dorm. This was back during spring training at Blue Devils, and she slept through dinner. They were using cafeteria, not a food truck. She slept through dinner and she DoorDashed. But to me, I get really bent out of shape about food and making sure that people eat and that they have enough. And so that snack time meal, like I said, what is a big deal to me. But I got to visit with him most often during snack. And that to me was a really special time because it was the end of the day and he could kind of download what his experiences were. I got to ask him some questions and just really have some one-on-one time. The first night we went off and sat in the stands. They were in a stadium, and so kind of went to an area that was a little quieter. That was the first time that I had seen him, and he had been there about 5 weeks at that point. And, you know, he was just kind of able to tell me, you know, what was going on and kind of what his experience was and what his thoughts were. And so, so that was a pretty special time that actually was probably pretty normal for him, but actually was a really special time for me. And then the next 2 nights, I just talked to him when he was in the line. And then after that, I just let him be. I wanted him, he knew where I was if he needed me, but I just wanted him to do his own thing. And then with Piper, it was pretty much the same thing. When I got there, I went into the stands. Pat had told me it was okay. They were in a big high school stadium in California, and Pat let me know that it was okay to go in the stands and watch. They were in sectional time and learning some dance work off to the side that, you know, just small groups, 7 or 8 of them do. And so I sat in the stands, and then I saw that she saw me. And so when they had a break, you know, she ran over and was able to give me a hug. This was all pre-COVID outbreak protocols. She was able to give me a hug, and it was so sweet. It had been 6 weeks since she had been gone at that point. And yeah, I didn't think we were going to let go of each other. She was so happy to see me. And I was equally as happy to see her, of course. And so, so that night, after that block was over, they went and ate dinner. I waited until all the kids were through. Pat had let me know, you know, please get a plate and eat with us. So I fixed a plate, and Piper invited me to eat with her friends. And so they had picnic tables at this school. It was really nice. It was actually a really beautiful school. Went over and sat with her at the table, and their guard captain, Jonathan, came over, and I was able to meet him. I had fangirled on him all winter when he marched AMP, so it was really great to meet him. And then several of our other friends sat down as well, was able to meet them and start to put names to faces of all of these kids that I had seen these really funny Snapchats and Instagram stories of for the entire summer. After that, with Piper, I would maybe go in, if I saw her in a food line or if I happened to be walking by, you know, I don't think I ever sat down with her again for a meal. But you know, hey, how's your day? How's it going? You know, that kind of thing. Always with Avery and Piper, same thing. But with Piper, it was really important to me to be her mom when I'm there and not her teacher. And so it's a difficult line to toe as her guard director and her mom. And so it was really important to me that when I was there, that I am only her mom. She is being taught by the best people in the world, just second to none, that guard staff. And so so I just wanted to make sure that there was a line, that I wasn't watching her in rehearsals a lot. I would go in for ensemble the same as I did with Avery, but I don't think I went in one time to a sectional with her. I just, for my own sake and for her sake, I thought there needed to be a division there. I didn't want her to feel like I was watching her and thinking corrections in my head, which is not what the case would be by any stretch of imagination, but I didn't even want her to think that that might be a case. So I stayed out of rehearsals, only went to ensemble. And then I did go and watch warm up when they were doing dance stuff. And so I was able to get some really great videos of her there, and that was really special to see her dancing in a different manner than I'm used to seeing her with studio dance, and doing just these really great fun combinations. And you know, she's a little rock star with that. And so it was really fun to see her and get to experience her being in the diva line, and so fun. When they would start equipment warm up, I would leave. for kind of the same reason. That's her time, and you know, I may stay and watch them through drop spins and whatever, because if it's a work of art to watch these drum corps, you know, just do drop spins and double time. I think it's phenomenal. But when they would start into show work, I exited. That was my cue to go and sit in the stands. That's between her and her staff, all of their traditions, whatever they do before they go on the field, that's between she and that's her piece. The same as Avery. I would leave long before in the lot. I would leave long before they ever pushed in. So I had somebody ask me, well, if the Blue Devils guard, they warm up in their warm-up suits, when do they put on their costumes? I have no idea. I don't know, because I was never there and I never asked, and I really, honestly, to this day, I can't tell you, because I don't know how I just don't know. But I want to know as well, because that has to happen really fast. So, and then after that, after her show, I would go, they have to sometimes retape on silks or obviously load their stuff on the truck. So I would try and meet her there. I actually met, gosh, I think we were in Fresno, and I met Ryson, met his parents, and kind of followed them through like 2 shows, and we would meet each other waiting for our kids to be done and get their stuff loaded. So that was super fun. And then Avery's 2 roommates came to Memphis. I was able to meet them, and saw some old friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, was able to kind of visit while I was waiting for him. But that would kind of be my advice as well, is when you're on tour, just make sure that you're there and your kids know you're there. But then also remember that this is their experience, and that it's just really important for them to not have that experience disrupted, even if they're sad or homesick or whatever, which my kids weren't, but I'm sure that there are kids that are, but just not to disrupt the system of the drum corps, so that they can stay in that focused zone that's so important for them. So lastly, will I do it again next year? I will. I will. I came back. I was so tired. And I was home for like 2 days, and then drove to Memphis to see Avery and Carolina Crown again. So at that point I said, I don't know if I'll do 2 weeks on the road. But now that I've actually slept in my bed for a couple of nights, and I've kind of got myself back together, oh yeah, I'll do it again. I would probably actually even do longer. I loved it. I really loved it. So, yeah, so we'll see how the tour calendar works out next year, and yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if my kids get spots again. They have to audition. We have to go through this whole thing again. So I have a long time to think about that. But will I go on the road again next year? Yes, I absolutely will. I had a great time. So if you're a parent and your child is marching drum corps, find some way to volunteer. You will get as much out of it as your kid does.